This early in camp, you got to be careful. Like, it's fun to start, like, making huge generalizations and forecasting breakout stars and making prognostications, and that's a blast. But you got to be careful, right? Because there's just so little that's going on. When they're out there in T-shirts and shoulder pads, there's not a ton that can be gleaned. They're learning where to be, acclimating to the heat, understanding terminology, figuring out a lot of things chemistry-wise. Then they put the pads on for the first day, and you saw a little bit more physicality yesterday. But there's not a ton you can glean that you know. But one of the things that I've kept tabs on via the reports and feel comfortable in saying is that they are committed at this point to making this a quarterback competition. As me covering the Saints and you listening as Saints fans, like, you have not seen something like this in decades where you are actually handicapping a true quarterback competition. Like, yeah, Taysom was, but was he? And, last year you were looking at Hainer and Rattler, but that's as a backup. And do you even know if they're your franchise? Like, this is a new dynamic with a quarterback that's the highest selected quarterback in 50 years since Archie Manning. And then another quarterback who's got some talent and started some games last year. And we know that the hit rate on quarterbacks isn't very high, so you want to make sure you're giving everybody every opportunity you can to be a hit. And it would be easy for Kellen Moore to come in and say, hey, Spencer, appreciate you being here. I want you to work really hard. We're going to work with you. But we took Shough, and we're going to develop him, so just get your reps when you can. Like, it would be easy to do that. But that's not been the approach thus far at all. Spencer Rattler took the first reps the first day for seniority. And then if you just look at yesterday's reps, first time in pads, Tyler Shough, 22, Spencer Rattler, 20. And then if you look at it for the totality of the passing attempts in practice, like Shough's thrown 41, Rattler's thrown 57. So they are very truly making this a competition. You can have your thoughts on who's going to win it or not, and you could say, well, they drafted Shough, like they're gonna give him the football, and that may be true. Like, he may be the starting quarterback, and they may really think that in the back of their mind. But if they knew that, wouldn't he be getting 65, 70% of the reps? If they knew that, I tend to think so. As a rookie, like, if you want to rest Drew Brees in year 14 because, he's recovering from an ankle issue, yeah, give the other guy a bunch of reps. But in this case, like, I need to get my starting quarterback reps if I know who he is. And I just don't think they know. I think they are truly opening this up. And Ross Jackson is doing an awesome job over at LouisianaSports.net at keeping a running total on these two guys. And Tyler Shough is 24 of 41 with 3 touchdowns through the first week. So, and Spencer Rattler is 40 of 57 with 6 passing touchdowns. He's run for 2 more. He's also thrown 2 interceptions. So they are very much getting all of these young quarterbacks repetitions daily. And they're not playing favorites. And I think that's a good idea. I think you've got so much time in an NFL training camp that taking things slowly and observing all your options is a very good thing. We cover 2 teams here. We cover LSU, which it feels like a long time to get ready for that first game, but it's really not. Like, you start August 1, we'll call it. Maybe it's July 30, but August 1, you're playing at the end of August. The Saints report in mid-July, and they don't play till the second week of September. So it's a different ramp up. LSU's got to get their guys in and go. The Saints have time. So it's just we're covering 2 teams. It's a different way to look at the 2 buildups. And the Saints will get preseason games on television, and LSU will scrimmage behind closed doors, and we'll get a little better feel for what the Saints are doing in their scrimmage settings and their preseason settings than what LSU's doing. But to me, while the media is allowed out there at Saints camp and is able to chart these and watch who's working with the ones and watch who's working with the twos and watch who's getting more throws and who's getting less throws, it is evident that through the first week of camp, they are making this an even battle. When you listen and read to folks that are there each and every day, like I'm not counting on Kellen Moore to give me a lot of juice on the quarterback competition in an interview setting, in a press conference setting. Like that's not going to happen. The best information you're going to get is from the opinion of those that are covering the team. But when I look at it, like I favor Shough, but I think to dismiss Rattler would be a little bit premature. Like if you made me handicap it today, I would say 70-30 Shough will be the starter in the first game, barring any sort of injury or big-time setback in training camp. I would say 70-30. But that leaves a 30% chance. 30% chance is not insignificant. I thought Rattler last year was okay in massively adverse circumstances, and that's why I've consistently talked about putting these young quarterbacks in an ecosystem that is conducive to development. And they're going to do the best they can. Last year, when you get in the middle of the season and you're throwing a quarterback in there and your whole wide receiving core is hurt and your whole offensive line is hurt, like there's just not a lot you can do. But right now, the Saints have a healthy front five. The Saints have a healthy wide receiver unit. The Saints have a healthy and deep in terms of options running back group. When you run through Kamara and you run through Kendre Miller and Clyde's still there and you bring in Cam Akers, and like they've got bodies at running back as well. So right now, it's about as healthy as this organization is capable of making it right now. And to me, that gives you the best opportunity to observe what these guys are. I'm not going to hold Spencer Rattler playing behind a duct tape offensive line, throwing to Bub Means and whoever else is out there. Like, I'm not holding that against him. I would much rather see what he does in this setting when you do have the offensive line healthy and you do have Olave and Shaheed, you do have healthy Kamara. Like, that's a more beneficial environment for a quarterback to be in. So I'm not going to dismiss Rattler based on last year, but I am going to give Shough the advantage based on him being drafted by this staff this year. But I'm going to continue to read and to monitor how many reps these guys get. And again, you're looking at Shough completing somewhere in the neighborhood of 55% of his throws for 3 touchdowns. You're looking at Rattler completing somewhere in the neighborhood of 65% of his throws, 6 touchdowns, 2 rushing with those 2 interceptions. Nobody's made a big leap. Nobody has completely imploded. Rattler's made more plays and made more mistakes. Shough has been a little bit more consistent, if not massively exciting with the reps that he's put in thus far. So I'm not going to draw much more than that. I'm going to stop right there and not tell you, yep, Shough's the guy, or Rattler's surging. Rattler was the first guy to take the snaps. No, I'm going to leave it right there. Where I just think, okay, based on a week's worth, not one practice, not okay, Spencer Rattler went out there and was the first rep guy the first day. No, we've gone beyond that. We've now gone through the padded practices, a padded practice. We've gone through a walkthrough, gone through the 7-on-7 drills, looked at first team, look at second team. They're clearly performing better with the first team than they do the second team. That gets a little hairy with the offensive line up front. But I think that this is really a competition right now. Maybe that changes after a week and a half and the reps start to really shift, and I think that would be a good thing if they do either way. But right now, I think they're running neck and neck at this point. Just my 2 cents. And in reading what we have from the folks down there that are covering things in New Orleans, Sharif Ishak will be here in an hour, and we'll get his thoughts on whether or not he thinks this is truly a competition at this point, as he's been watching the black and gold all week long. All right, if you're looking for Saints coverage, check it out, LouisianaSports.net for free. Ross's practice reports are incredibly detailed, incredibly thorough, and you're going to get another one from their walkthrough today. And then you can find my stuff, Hunt on Saints on Twitter, Hunt on Saints on YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast, Hunt on Saints. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.